Hello, beautiful souls. I've got some more cards for you. And this is going to be a karmic and divine masculine reading. And actually, you know what's funny? And I want to thank user Pandora because I did a YouTube short about Queen Elizabeth and passing right at the Pisces full moon, which is happening right now, which is like it's interesting timing because Pisces is like the last sign. It is like the great grandparent sign, and it is I mean, it's the sign that does like Scorpio typically deals with death, but Pisces is like the last sign that is the passing, the end before the beginning. You know what I mean? Um, but user Pandora had said something about Queen Lake. She died a long time ago, and they've had a stand in for her so that they could time things and control the energy and the flow of the people. And it was like, not quite like a lightning strike, but that epiphany thing, that message that came in is like, that's totally karmic energy. And it would make sense too, not necessarily Queen Elizabeth herself, but her people, her PR people doing something like that. That would definitely be karmic energy. Like, just let life and death be what life and death are. But we don't know what all reasons are. The spirit does things, or not does things. I mean, we have free will, so there's always a combination of like us and spirit and us. You know, but I really feel like it was like, no, this is definitely at least not for everybody. Like, take what resonates. If this does not feel like it resonates with your twin flame journey, then disregard it. It's for somebody else. If it does feel like it resonates with yours, though, hear me out. Go with me. Let's see where this Cabot Trail leads. Right. And so I was like, Spirit team, can you tell me more about this? And like, again, I was looking for my other cards too, because I'm like, I want some more. And they're like, no, you're only going with the Wonderland deck today. That's all you get. I'm like, oh, all right. It's fine because we're kind of in an upcycle of like when I started this channel, which I started with a Wonderland tarot deck. Um, and for those of you that have kept along with this interesting adventure called My Wickedly Divine Feminine channel, then you know the story of those decks. Now, what I got was Three of Cups, Three of Hats in this one, the Knight of Oysters, which is the Knight of Pentacles, or in reverse, Justice in reverse, and the Page of Peppermills in reverse. And what I'm seeing in this is like there was a reunion, and it was not really it wasn't a singular reunion. You'll recognize this in like your masculine likely had like, many exes around and many people around that were like, hey, here, have a drink and you should go over here. And it feels like these masculines were like they were in such an immature energy too that like they really didn't feel like they could trust their own senses of things. So like their heart may have been saying, no, stay with divine feminine or go towards divine feminine, but they had all these people around them saying no, don't be with them, like they just control you, that's not good, and like we don't like you with them, go with this person over here. And they reconnected them with somebody that had some kind of heart connection, that was a karmic soulmate from the past, but it wasn't just one, like it was multiple. So like if your separation occurred or if an official relationship with your DM did not start because they went to an ex or they had multiple exes around them, multiple previous connections, this is much more likely on your timeline and messages for you, because it feels like it was one of those like these divine masculines got called back to their past, to their immaturity levels, to to do things that they wanted to do before and weren't able to, or they did before and they thought it was much better when they were younger and had a lot more like time and less responsibility to do it. It feels like there was a lot of drinking involved, there's probably drugs involved, a lot of like sexuality and things like that. And it's like, hey DM, no, come back here. Like, there may have even been a couple as friends that like this DM thought, oh well, they've been together a while, so that must mean that they're good. And like these DMs were definitely, they had attachment traumas, they're afraid to be alone, things like that. And so they're like, okay, I'll listen to them. Like they're partying, they're having fun, that makes me feel good, I'm going to go towards what they say. And there was some reunions that happened in that space and a little bit of celebratory nature in that. But then it turned into a Knight of Pentacles situation, which is like, kept trying to go and plant the seeds and like maybe would get some seed starts, but then arguing would happen over money, lots of arguing over money, lots of probably arguing over children too, arguing over material things. And like, I mean, it's Knight of Pentacles, so some material things would be gained, like Maybe some leases to rentals were signed, even some real estate stuff happened, contracts, maybe like marriage contracts, things like that. But they're like constantly in arguments with multiple people about these things. They could even be in arguments with you about some of these things. But they keep trying to like carry the seeds, and like they were hoping that this situation was going to lead to a like to this situation where they would be able to be like, see, I can party and be an adult and be successful. And what they're finding is that actually they're getting this situation, which I really like because Justice, this in this deck in upright is the guy standing on his head, right? And in reverse, in this Libra energy, which we're heading into, it's like, wait a minute. Y'all told me like if I did what you said, I would be happy and I would be able to pursue my goals and I would have justice. And if I blocked out divine feminine and I did what you said and I was mean to her and distant and I did all this stuff, that it would equal positive messages, that it would equal at least new beginnings and things for me that would be just, and it hasn't. And it's, it feels like this is also talking about like they've been wrapped up in a lot of kid stuff. These karmics were ones that really like brought them into the realm of how far a pirate goes in using kids, right? And it really tried to disconnect them, especially communication wise, from their own kids. Really tried to confuse a lot of things in it and brought them a lot of injustices. Now, it feels like, because I looked in the rest of the deck too, and we've got the Page of Hats in reverse, the Page of Cups in reverse as the hot topic, which means like there's stuff to do with kids. And I really, really feel like there's this energy. I feel like there's a couple of timelines. One is the energy of some of these karmic soulmates that they connected with. They may have had in previous years, like a pregnancy that occurred that did not make it, that was either aborted or miscarried or something. And it was actually not their child, but they were made to believe that it was their child. And this connection was used to try to forge a current connection with them, and they are finding out that that was never their child in the first place, and so all this stuff was illusion, right? And it feels like the other timeline, well, take what resonates. It feels like either that was a timeline and this happened, or that was a timeline and this is a separate timeline. But it feels like these masculines have been with karmic soulmates that have been like, like in an effort to keep them on board when times are tough, and these masculines are like, I'm done with this nonsense, this is ridiculous, I can't plant my seeds, I can't have fun, I'm in trouble. And justice in reverse definitely suggests like trouble legally and things like that, like things are not going well. And like these karmic soulmates would be like, well, but I'm pregnant, and but then the time would come and there'd be nothing there, and and like how many times can it not happen or not have happened, or how many times do you tell someone you think that you are when you're not? And it also feels like there may have actually been a pregnancy, a child may have been born, and it's been confirmed that it is not DMs, right? And this is likely with karmic soulmates who have a pattern of being with multiple masculines, not necessarily divine masculines, but being with multiple masculines, usually in karmic energy, and kind of having themselves in that space. But what it feels like, though, and especially because in the heart of the matter, looky here, look who we have, the Empress, right? Divine Feminine, and right behind her, Temperance, right? So it and as in the shadow card position, the underlying card, we have the Five of Wands in upright. With the Lovers reversed beneath that. And what that tells me, in addition to these cards, is like these karmic feminines really like they tried to do every sort of like karmic feminine thing. Like they did the love bombing, they did the confusion stuff, they tried to do spell work, sometimes intentional actual spell work, and sometimes just spell work with words, like word salad being confusing. They tried to bring like lots of people in so that there was like constant chaos and constant confusion and things like that. They tried to triangulate, they tried to do this and that, they tried to bring in their exes to bring in extra things like that. They tried to bring in pregnancy and children. They may have adopted children or gotten into the foster care system to try to trap these masculines in. They've done everything that they can, but the one thing that they cannot seem to do, look at this, is to get rid of this patient empress. I wonder who that is, right? Um, and it's funny. Look what's right beneath that. The three of peppermints, three of wands. And I love this card because look what it shows. Like she's looking behind the curtain. She could be looking at those three of wands, but she's not. She's looking behind the curtain, right? So there's this empress energy, this divine feminine energy. Maybe it's you, maybe it's a different divine feminine involved in this story, but somebody keeps pulling the curtain back, right? And it's this patient divine feminine energy, this patient mother energy. And it feels like the message that came through with all of this is like no amount of this drama, no amount of like 3D contracts, no amount of this stuff has been able to, I want to say, allow this karmic to feel like they've really even done what they set out to do. Like they were trying to build an empire that they felt was fitting of a queen. They were trying to, they wanted more money, more money, more money, more money. They managed to even get in, more money in situations like that. But they still like, they have not been able to, the energy that I get is like, no matter how good they make it look on the outside, they've still got that smoker's cough kind of thing, or they've still got that feeling of knowing that they're not doing it in an honorable way, that it's not genuine. It's like doing a love spell on someone. Even if that other person had genuine love there, you can never know whether it was them genuinely loving you or if it was based on the love spell. And because of this Empress energy involved in there, these karmics recognize that there is a difference. And even though in the past, they've been able to ignore that, they can't at this point in time. And so it feels like what the message is like, these karmics tried, they tried to do what they could to dismiss, to remove, to ignore, to discredit this divine feminine energy. And they just weren't able to. And at this point, like it feels like it was actually a while ago that they were done. Like they made it clear. Either if your divine masculine said that they were married to this karmic or got married, I have a feeling for many of you, you're going to find out that it wasn't actually a full legal marriage. Like they may have gone through that, but it was more about doing some spell work and bringing the divine masculine in and trying to, do some legal contracty type stuff. It wasn't a genuine legal marriage though. It may have been done like even in another state and come back so that it could be easily untangled later when the karmic was ready to do that. Or if it was a genuine legal marriage, it's already been in the processes of, the divorce papers have been filled out and or filed and things like that. Or at very least that all of the talking and the fighting and the arguing and the things going on have already been set up to where now that stuff is happening. But these karmics are, they recognize that these DMs have good pentacle energy and, even with their bad karma going on, because these DMs have definitely earned some bad karma on their end. But they want to have that. They want to have the status. A lot of these DMs are really good looking too. And so even though they don't love them and they don't really want the connection with them, they don't want to lose the resources. They don't want to lose the house or the real estate or the discounts from the marriage stuff or whatever thing it is. Like they want to keep that going, but they don't want to be involved in it. Like it feels like these DMs even have really started like looking at what this Empress energy has been like. Look behind this curtain, just freaking look. Just look behind the curtain, right? Or it could be that this Empress energy is the one saying, look, you don't have to look, but I'm gonna pull the curtain back. I'm gonna reveal the wizard is really just a man back there. You know what I mean? He's not really, maybe a bit magical, but he's not what you think. He's not this great and powerful Oz sort of thing. And in doing that, these masculines are recognizing that they didn't really love these karmics either, and that they, if the curtain was pulled back, they would not feel good about themselves. And so they're really trying to not quite scramble, but they're trying to get to that point where they don't feel like when the curtain's pulled back and it's revealed that like there's really just these stand-ins for these karmics, that they want to have some dignity, they want to have some honor in it, and It feels like though these karmics like and it's probably not the first time. This is probably part of that revealing that these masculines are recognizing that these karmics have done this before. Like when things get really bad and it's like separation, split up, breakup energy, these karmics will go somewhere. They'll go on a trip. They'll go stay with their family. They'll go do something. They'll go back to an ex. They'll do something, but they leave a stand-in, right? It could be someone else who cooks the dinners and cleans the house and talks nice to masculine or does things like that. Like they never actually leave the situation. They let it, they have somebody who is ready as kind of a body double who is there to be like, oh, you know how they are and you'll feel better later and here, just have a drink or here's a nice meal or whatever thing. And these karmics are really good at like controlling the narrative and controlling the flow of things, so they would never just leave masculine to do their own thing. They don't trust them that much, right? So they're like, you got to take care of this kid, you got to take care of that thing, you got to pay these bills, you got to do that. But it feels like these karmics are so tired from their own chaos and their own just nonsense that they've overdone it. And because they've overdone it and not planned it right, I really get the sense, especially with these cards, that there's been a theft that has occurred, especially financially, especially with that Knight of Pentacles in reverse, that makes it blaringly obvious to masculines where they sit on that totem pole. Like they may be with the queen, but they are not the king, not with that queen. They're the court jester. And they're recognizing that. And it feels like these karmics are at a space where they've controlled things enough that they actually don't care that much if it gets revealed soon. They might even be the ones to reveal it themselves soon. We'll see. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next message.